So you want to know every single strength training location in Anime Fighting Simulator? I got you covered. Let's get into it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting off on the first map with the first training location, which is right over here. No nonsense, by the way, guys. So this is the first one. You have the spawn building, and then over here, straight away, you have the dummies. So this will give you 100 times physical strength training. So technically, your first would be just punching with pressing 1, but then this one, after you get 100, is your first training location. Okay, the next one is a little further away. So if you have the spawn building, you want to look for the gym. So you can see it over there. You can see the big tower in the distance. That is where you want to go. So you have the dummies. To your left is where you want to go. And there is the gym. Okay, to enter the gym, you want to be on the side. And if you get in here, it is 10,000 physical strength that you require to use it. This will give your strength training a multiplier of 15. Now, the next one from the gym is the beach. Okay, so for the beach, when you're at the gym, you need to fly pretty much all the way back to spawn, or run, I guess, if that's your thing. So when you're at spawn with the gym in your back, you want to go just straight ahead, and over here is the beach. And then you kind of want to find this refrigerator where you can get your multiplier. So this multiplier is times 50. And as you can see, you need 100,000 physical strength to access this. Then next up, we have the meteor, which is like right next to this place. So that is this one over here. So you have the beach, and then straight here is the meteor. This is the next training location in order. So for this one, you need 1,000,000 physical strength. And this one will give you 100 times multiplier. Now then up next, we have to look to the sky because we're gonna go to the Lookout Islands from Dragon Ball. And you can vaguely see it in the distance over there. I mean, not really vaguely, it's pretty clear. But it's this one over here, the Lookout Island. This is from Dragon Ball, of course. And this can be a bit confusing because if you go in here, there's a durability training spot. However, if you want to train your strength, you just have to walk in here. Okay, and once you're in here, you need 10 million physical strength to actually be able to use this, and it will give you a multiplier of 500. And then up next is another Dragon Ball location. For that, we need to go back to land, which is the Cell Games Arena, or as it's called in this game, the Arena. So from the lookout, you can see sort of a white line over there underneath like the quest islands. So if you just fly over there or walk over there, I would assume fly because you kind of need to fly to access the lookout tower. But anyway, once you get over here, there is a training area. So the arena requires you to have 100 million physical strength. And once you punch, it will give you a multiplier of 1,000. So that doubles from the previous. So once you've accessed the arena and you have gotten your strength up, you will want to go to Excalibur, which is the next one. For that, you need 1 billion strength. And where that is over there at the big tower you see. So from here, we want to fly over there to the big tower, and somewhere around there is Excalibur. Okay, once you're over here at the tower, you want to go a little further behind this waterfall. It's a little hard to find, but you can see like a rock formation kind of next to the waterfall, and that is where Excalibur is. So a good point to keep in mind is the big Tower of God over here, the crystals that form in the sky. It is like right next to that. So this requires you to have 1 billion physical strength, as I said, and it will give you a multiplier of times 5,000. So it is 5,000 times your normal training. So as you see, I'm getting 819 million, and then without it, I'm getting 163,000. So yeah, that's a big multiplier. And then the last one for Dimension 1, we're gonna use Excalibur as a vantage point, or rather maybe the tower to make it a little easier for you guys. But this one is not as hard to find as Excalibur because it is a big monster that is somewhere near spawn. Okay, so for the monster, you want to go over to not the main island, but the right one, back to the gym. So you want to kind of fly over to the gym, and then at the back of the gym over here, all the way on the edge of the island is where the monster is at. So again, take the gym as an example or a point of reference. You want to go through past the gym, and then over here, sort of at a platform, is where the monster is at. And you require 100 billion physical strength to actually use this training location. And then once you're able to use it, it gives you 10,000 multiplier. So 10,000 times your physical strength. This is the final strength training location in Dimension 1. So let's move over to Dimension 2. If you don't know how to get to Dimension 2, you just fly over back from the monster. So you just fly over here to these colored little portals that you see. Okay, and the second dimension is actually the green one over here. So for this one, you have the boss Broly in here, by the way. So make sure to defeat your bosses once you're able to. I still have to defeat Kurama, actually. Whoops. Just confirm that you want to travel there, and I'll see you at the first training location right there. Okay, in Dimension 2, you spawn right over here. So the first location is a road roller, and it is right next to spawn, so you can find it pretty easily. Just fly up from spawn and look for something yellow. It's pretty easy to spot. And this is, of course, Dio's road roller that you can use to train your physical strength. For this, you need 1 trillion physical strength, and then your multiplier will become 20,000. So 20,000 times your normal strength. Like, I'm getting like 3 billion per punch, which is insane. But we do not stop there, because there's 3 more in this dimension, and the first one is Ichigo's Inner World. Okay, so from the road roller, if you want to find Ichigo's Inner World, which requires, by the way, 100 trillion strength. So if you want to find it, you kind of want to move towards the dimensions again, or rather towards the water. And on top of one of these pillars here in the water, you should find Ichigo. So Ichigo will let you into his inner world, and here is where you can train your physical strength. Keep in mind, you need 100 trillion physical strength to actually use it, so if you can't use it, then that's why. But this will multiply your strength training by 50,000. All right, let's get out of Ichigo's inner world and go to the next location. Okay, the next location is very close to Ichigo, so just keep in mind, if you see the hospital is also a good way to find out where you're at, or the big arena over there. So what you want to do is from Ichigo, fly over these 2 pillars towards the dimensions, and then like right in between the dimensions is the next one, which requires 1 QD physical strength. So if you have that, you can get 100,000 multiplier on your strength training. So after the unbreakable boulder, you want to find the executor, which is like a robot. Okay, so from the unbreakable boulder, if you look over to the back, so you want to have like the blue dimension in front of you, that is where you want to go. So if you fly over here all the way upwards, there should be a big robot right here in between the trees. So it can be a bit hard to spot at first because it is green, but again, if you went the way that I just said, then you should be fine. So this requires 100 QD physical strength to access, and then once you have that, you will get a 750,000 times multiplier, which will be very good. And that was actually every strength location from Dimension 2, which means we're gonna go to the next dimension, which has another 4 strength locations. Okay, so let's go back to the dimensions, which are pretty easy to spot because they're like glowing rocks over here. So you wanna find Dimension 3, which is actually this blue one. And it already says for the first training location, you need 1 QN to access it. So let's teleport, and I'll see you there. Okay, so from spawn, you want to be looking for a big grimoire tower, which is right down there. So if you fly up from spawn a bit, you will see it right down there. So if you fly towards the tower over here, you should find your training location, which again requires 1 QN, which is 1000 QD. Also, you get to unlock your grimoire here if you don't have one yet. Then from the grimoire tower, you want to find Boros battleship, which is from One Punch Man. I have not been mentioning what they're from, but for some reason I did it with this one. Anyway, Boros battleship is a bit hard to spot from the tower over here, but if you look towards the sky, you'll see sort of a platform right next to the flower growing out of the ground. So if you fly towards that, that is Boros battleship. So I just want to fly past this flower, and then over here is Boros battleship. So that's 100 QN that you require to access this, and that will give you a multiplier of 40 million. By the way, the tower gave you 4 million multiplier, so that's times 10. The numbers are getting a little bit insane right now. But from Boros battleship, you want to find the demon skull, which requires 1 SX to access. Okay, so this can be a little bit hard to spot from Boros battleship, but you want to kind of fly down towards the island. So if you fly down a bit, you'll be able to spot it. So it's right down there. So if you have the tournament of power up there, you will just have to fly straight. So you see the skull is coming a lot closer already. It's next to Marine Fort over there. And Ironcrad is up there as well. So if you fly towards the Demon Skull, this is your next strength location, which requires 1000 QN to access, which is 1 SX. and that will give you a multiplier of 200 million. Okay, so once we're done with the Demon Skull, we get to move to Heaven's Arena. So Heaven's Arena requires you to have 100 SX and will give you a multiplier of 600 million. So let's find it. It's pretty easy to spot this one because it's the big tower you see straight from the skull. So it's pretty hard to miss. The silhouette is pretty obvious. So over here, if you fly towards that tower, that is where you'll be able to train. So it's called Heaven's Arena, and over here with 100 SX, you'll be able to train. And again, it will give you 600 million multiplier. And for 1.8 billion multiplier, you want to go to Infinity Castle, which requires you to have a 1 SP physical strength. So this one is a little bit harder to spot because it requires you to talk to an NPC. So from Heaven's Arena, all you want to do is look towards Boro's ship over there, and then you want to fly down to the island in between them. So over here, there is an NPC that you can talk to. I'm just going to pick up this Chikara. And once you talk to Akuma, you'll be going to Infinity Castle. So over here, you'll be able to train once you have 1000 SX, or 1 SP is the same basically. And again, that will give you 1.8 billion times multiplier. So once we're out there, that is everything in this dimension. So let's get to the next dimension, which is Dimension 4. Which will have a grand total of another 4 training locations for strength. So to get there, you want to go back towards spawn, and over there in the middle, usually it's just in the middle of the map, you just want to go looking for these like shiny things in the air. And the next one we want to go to is Dimension 4, which should be the purple one. Yes, that's this one. Let's get in there and go to the first training location. Okay, so we've made it in Dimension 4, and the first thing you want to find is the boar hat from 7 Deadly Sins. So it's not that hard to spot. You need to fly up from spawn, and then you see, kind of, if you're looking around, you'll see a pig in the distance. So just look towards this tower over here. You see the arena over there, the sword is there. So if you have the sword in your back, you want to go over there to the pig. So at this pig, the boar hat, you will be able to train your strength, and it will give you a 5.4 billion multiplier. Again, you require 100 SP physical strength to use it. So from the boar hat, we want to find the UA training gym. Okay, so to find the UA training gym, what you want to do is fly towards the dimensions over here. So you have the boar hat, and then from the dimensions, you want to go past them towards this white tower, and then there's this big building over here that you can fly towards, which is the UA gym. So once you get in here, that is your next training location. Requires 1000 SP, which is equal to 10C, and that will give you a multiplier of 16.2 billion. Again, the numbers are getting crazy, so if I make a mistake somewhere in those numbers, I'm sorry. And then next up is the Fairy Tale Guild Hall. So what you want to do for this one is you want to fly upwards and go back to spawn. It is getting nighttime, so it's a little harder to spot everything, but back over here at spawn or the boar hat, you want to just fly towards the boar hat really, and then over there is the Fairy Tale Guild Hall. So you can just stand on top of this and train your strength. It requires 100 OC or 1000 C, so just use that, and then you get a multiplier of 81 billion. Then next up we have God's Blade, which I already kind of spoiled where it is in the beginning of this dimension. So what you want to do is go back to spawn over here at the city, and you already see it on top of the roof. So this is God's Blade that you can access for 1000 OC, also known as 1N. And that will give you a multiplier of 162 billion. So that is 162 with 9 zeros behind it. And that was the entirety of this dimension. So now we're on to the final dimension for today, and then that should be it. But I quickly want to mention that like 90% of you guys are not subscribed. So if you're not subscribed and you want to help me get to 100,000 subscribers, then that will be hella appreciated. And along with that, you get to have all my videos on time whenever I bring them out. So if you do decide to subscribe, then thank you from the bottom of my heart. Also, the next video that I have planned is for durability. So if that is out, check out the card on the top right, and that should bring you right there. So what you want to do from God's Blade, of course, is fly towards the dimensions, and then it's the highest one up, the red one. So over here, dimension 5 will bring you there. So over here in the Attack on Titan dimension, which I don't know if I can say that, but I'm pretty sure everyone knows this is the Attack on Titan dimension. What you want to find first is the Shogun Palace. So that is outside of the walls. Okay, so for the first strength training location, you want to locate Shenron over here. So it is the big golden dragon you see like towering over the walls. And then you want to turn your back towards him and fly that way. So you can just fly over the wall here and then past the dimension. That is exactly your first training location, which is the Shogun Palace. So over here, you'll be able to train once you reach 100 in physical strength, and you get a multiplier of 486 billion. I hope I said that right. Anyway, onwards to the next location, which is the Chardidis. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it is a big thing in the sky. So let's find it. Actually, you can see it over there. It is very huge and in the sky. So just fly towards that. You have the dimensions to your right here, and then you just want to fly straight towards this big thing in the sky. So here you're going to need 1 DE physical strength to access it, and which is 1000 N. And from that, you're going to get a multiplier of a whopping 1 point. Yeah, I don't know numbers anymore. Do I even need to say it at this point? You get a big multiplier. Okay, and then next up we have the poneglyph, which is in the water. So it can be a little hard to spot, but if you see our big boy in the sky over here, you want to have him in your back and then fly to the left towards Shenron again. So you just want to go over to Shenron, and then down in the water next to Shenron is where the poneglyph is at. So over here, you'll be able to train your strength once you reach 100 DE, and it gives just a crap ton of strength multiplier. So yeah, enjoy that. Then next up is the Crimson Tower, which is the second to last training location actually. So let's find it. Okay, so from the poneglyph over here in the water, you want to go to Shenron and just fly over Shenron or next to Shenron. Fly over the walls, just follow the wall, just go straight with Shenron in your back, and then you'll be able to find the Crimson Tower. It's really far away, other side of the map. So once you get to the first training location, kinda, you see Shenron there in my back, you'll be able to find the Crimson Tower. So it's right to the left of the first training location in this dimension. So over here, the Crimson Tower requires you to have 1000 DE physical strength, and it gives you a multiplier of a lot. 26 with 12 zeros behind it, so that's a lot. Anyway, the final training location of this video is called Soul Society. So this one is pretty easy to find. It's like a big city. So what you want to do from this one is go all the way back over to Shenron. So a lot of flying to get to the next training location. But just make your way over to Shenron. Again, the big golden dragon. And then to the right of Shenron, or at least if you're facing Shenron, to the right of him, there's a big tree here, the Eternal Tree. And then past the Eternal Tree is where you will find the Soul Society. So that is this big city over here, and here you'll be able to train once you have 100 UD, and that will give you like an even bigger multiplier. There's no point in even saying the numbers anymore, but yes, this is the final training location that is available to us right now. Okay, so with that out of the way, we went over every single strength location currently available in Anime Dimensions. Okay guys, don't forget, if you want to see the durability video, that should be over there once it's out. If not, there's another video there that I highly recommend you watch. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this. I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers, so if you want to subscribe, that would really help me out, and that way you don't miss any content when it comes out. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. See you guys later. Bye bye.